Okay, welcome back. All right, in the last video, we mentioned some few things about functions. And I think function is something so important that we really need to understand. That is why I'm taking my time, okay, to explain this, because function is something you use always. And if you really know how to use, it's going to be amazing, okay? So trust me on that, all right? So in the last class, we created a function that did something for us, okay? And why would you prefer to create a function? Okay, I would have just said, why don't me just do the same thing here? I will just say, instead of doing this, I will just say this same thing here I did, this thing I did here, I'll just come here and do the same thing. Why would I not need a function for it? If I still do the same thing, I get my result, right? That's what you might think. You get 25. But look at it. What if I have if I want now here I'm doing square, let's say this is square of, I would rename this in a square of 5. If I do square of 5, what if I want to do square of 5? Okay, what if I want to do square of 3? Right, I will still do this and do square of 3 equal to, okay, maybe I should just rename this number as, this is 5. Okay, I believe you understand what I'm doing. If you don't understand what I'm doing, that means you have not been going through the previous classes. Okay, so here I have an integer 5. This other place, I have an integer, I'll call it 3. Okay, and I want to do the square root of 3. So I will do here 3 times 3. Okay, and I will print, right? I will print square of 3. What does this mean? If I still want to do square of 4, I will do the same thing. That means I'm repeating myself. If you do this, you're violating the principle we call DRY. Don't repeat yourself. Here we have this thing multiplying this one to give us square. Why don't you put it in a function? Okay, why don't you put it in a function instead of you repeating the logic? Now tomorrow you might want to change this logic. Okay, now this is the simplest form of function you can say, or this is the simplest example of function. But sometimes you might have a lot of code block, as in a lot of statements in a code block that you want to execute. So you might want to change it later on. So putting it in a function is just amazing. So whether you understand this or not, look at what I want you to get here. I want you to form the habit of, if you ever found yourself repeating is a line of code or a logic or a particular logic, if you ever find yourself doing that, what do? You have to put it in a function. Let that function do that thing for you. See, you have plenty of advantages here. I can come here and say, instead of repeating all these things, I can just do square. I just use my square function and give it the 5, the input, and I'll have this. I'll still come here and do the same thing. And it will be as simple as that. So here I'm not repeating my code. I'm not repeating myself. Okay, so if I want to make any changes to this particular function, I'll just come to one particular place and do it. Okay, that is it. So this is the reason why you should use functions. Okay, now I want us to take a look at this function. Okay, taking a look at the anatomy of the function. Okay, the return type. Okay, not all functions return a value. So if a function does not return a value, what do you do? So this return type is actually optional. If you look at the main function, it is not returning anything, right? Look at it. The main function is not returning anything. It's not returning anything. So it doesn't have any return type attached to it. So if you want to make this our function, if our function is not, let's say we don't want to Okay, let's write another function to actually make explain ourselves here. I'm going to write another function, and this function is just going to, it's not going to return anything, so I'll put it void. I'll just call it say my name or print name. Okay, print name, open my parentheses. I will give it the parameter type. Okay, is going to be a string, and the parameter name will be, sorry, or string is always in capital letters, so don't make that mistake. Okay, so and I will just use the print function and then print out the name, and that is it. So let's take a look at this function, this new function. It is not returning anything, but look at the previous one we wrote, the square. The square was returning something because I want to make use of the result. Square this number for me, give me the result. I want to use it in my program. I want to use it in another place. Okay, so but in this print name, I don't want to use it. I just want to print it out. So this function does not have any return type, so it's going to be void. Okay, so now if you can omit it, the void keyword, you can omit it because, but when you say void, it actually shows that, oh, this function is not returning anything. Okay, it's more readable. It makes, because the thing is this, sometimes you're not the only one that will be using your code. So write your code in a way that other people would understand. So I can omit it or I can leave it. If I omit it, you wouldn't know. But with this void keyword, it's making more sense. So void, the print name is the name of the function. All right. It is compulsory. Function name is compulsory. It is compulsory. Your function must have a name. Okay. Parameters. Okay. Your function might not take any parameter. Okay. All right. Let me write a function that doesn't take a parameter. I can just say void hello world. Okay, and it doesn't take any parameter because I don't need any input. I know what I just want to do is that I just want to print hello world to the console. Okay, so here I don't need a parameter. Not all functions will need parameters. Okay, not all functions will need parameters. Sorry about that. Okay, not all functions will need parameters. Okay, so here, parameter type is not compulsory. It's not compulsory. Parameter name is not compulsory. Return value is not compulsory. Do you understand? But it depends on what your function is actually doing. If you can see these three functions I have written here, they are doing three different things. In the square function, I want it to return something to me because I want to make use of what it has processed for me. In the second function, the hello world, I just want to print out. So I don't need an input. I don't need a parameter. Okay. Now in the print name, I need it to give me a name. So I will give the function the name I want it to print for me. Okay. So like I have always told you, I have a book. Okay. Request this book and I'll give it to you for free of charge so that you can read up on these things. Okay. Now, I cannot explain everything. It's not possible. But the books will help you. You read more than one book. Okay, we learn. Even me, I still learn. So you have to be very hard working on this. Okay, so now this is it. Okay, taking a look at the anatomy of a function and how you write a function. So another thing you need to understand is function call. All right, here I have written the function, I've declared the function, I've written the definition of the function. I have to call the function. Here, I have called the function. So how do you call a function? Let me remove all these ones so that I can just use the simplest one we have here. The simplest one we have here is hello world. So now, if you want to use a function, that is what we call calling it. You call a function when you want to use it, okay? So when we say call a function, you want to use it. So how do you call a function? You type in the name of the function with, of course, Visual Studio Code is helping me with the open parentheses and the closing parentheses and a semicolon. This is a statement. It is a statement, so always make sure you have the semicolon, okay? So I have called this function. So if I run this now, the hello world will be printed out for me. The hello world was printed out. Okay, so I have called this function. Now, I call a function that does not take any input and does not return anything. Okay, so it is as simple as this. But what if I want to call the print name? Okay, I will still do it the same way, print name, then I will give it the parameter. Now, when you're declaring here, we were declaring, this is called declaration, and you declare and you give it your function the definition. All right, declaration and definition of your function. All right, so when you're doing this, anything inside the parentheses, we call it parameters. Anything when you're declaring or when you're defining your function, anything inside the parentheses, we call it parameters. But when you're calling it, all right, anything inside it, when you're calling it, when you're using the function, anything inside it is called an argument. Look at it. It said one positional argument expected. Because this function expects an argument, okay, it has a parameter name. So I have to give it that argument. So when I'm defining it here, it is called parameter. When you're calling it right here, it is called an argument. So I can just pass in my name, Paulson, and I will not have any other errors. Okay, so I run it, I will get hello world and I will get Paulson. So now we will still continue with functions, but in case you have any confusion, let me know in the comment section, chat me up. My WhatsApp number will be available in the description, okay, so that I can help you. Chat me up, I can explain more to you, but I want you to write, I'm giving you an assignment, okay? Your assignment is this, okay? I will have to delete all these things and I'll have to write your assignment here. All right, we are having this because we do not. Okay, so this is your assignment, okay? Your assignment is write a function that, write a function that, I wanted to make it as simple as possible. Write a function that prints your name, to the console. Okay, write a function that prints your name to the console. All right, write a function that prints your name to the console. So after writing the function, defining the function, you will have to call it. Okay, so but before I go, I also want you to understand something before I conclude this video. I want you to understand something. Functions we can have more than one parameter. Okay, let's say multiply function. I have a function that I will name it. This is the return type. Then the name will be add or sum. Okay. Now it will take, of course, I'm going to sum two numbers. So the first parameter will be, I can call it A, and the second parameter, I will call it B, and it would return A plus B for me. So if you look at this function now, it's taking a parameter A, but I can just say this, call this thing first number, so that our name, it will have a meaningful first number, second number. I don't know the right term they actually use in mathematics for addition, all this number for addition and subtraction. So I will just do this first number plus second number. All right. So I have to, here, this function, I believe you understand the anatomy of this function, but what can confuse it here is that instead of taking one parameter, it's taking two parameters. It can take 3 parameters. It can take 100 parameters. Okay. Now, but this one is just taking 2. All right. But as when you start getting experience in programming, your functions, it is advised that your function should not take more than 2 parameters. If it's taking more than 2 parameters, you either use a class or another object that can actually do the job for you. But maybe when we get to such scenario, or I would let you know. But don't, make sure that your functions do not take more than 2 parameters. All right. I'm not saying it's a crime if it takes more than 2 or 3. Okay, but it will make it easier for you. But since we have not discussed class or other structures in that, I will just have to leave it like this. So what I'm trying to say here is that functions can take more than one parameter. And when you take more than one parameter, all you have to do is to separate the parameters with comma. And the first parameter should have the parameter type and the parameter name, comma. Parameter type, parameter name, comma. Parameter type, parameter name, comma. Okay, so this is your assignment. Okay, this is your first assignment. One, write a function that prints your name. Oh, sorry about that. This is not assignment 1. Then I'm giving you assignment 2. Okay, you will write a function that write a function that multiplies a number, a number by another number. Okay, yes, it's going to be, I understand it's your first time, but I want you to do this. Watch the videos I have done, just look at it, understand it, try it out, and if you cannot do that, just chat me up and I will help you with the assignment. Okay, thank you very much, and I will see you in the next video. We'll still continue with our function because we have a lot to discuss about functions. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, thank you.